Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're peeling back the layers of the high-functioning mask that, let's be honest, so many of us wear every single day. I found the research for this absolutely fascinating because, if you've ever felt like you're literally just playing a character to get through your daily routine, you are absolutely not alone. We're going to break down the intriguing and, honestly, often entirely misunderstood realities of hidden anxiety and depression. I want you to think about it for a second. Do you ever walk into a room and instantly feel like you're being judged, yet you just force a smile and do your absolute best to seem perfectly fine? You might actually be carrying this massive, invisible weight around with you, putting a ton of effort into making sure nobody notices that you're actually struggling. Man, it is exhausting, isn't it? But as we're about to see, you are so far from alone in this. Just take a look at this stark number. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, there are approximately 40 million people worldwide suffering from anxiety. 40 million. But here's the kicker. Due to the intense fear of judgment and that lingering stigma around mental health, only 36.9% of them ever actually seek treatment. Right, so that means the vast majority of people out there are suffering in complete silence. They're hiding their symptoms simply because they feel embarrassed. Let's jump right into Section 1. The hidden struggle. You see, hidden anxiety doesn't always look like a visible panic attack. It kind of operates quietly, right in the background of your daily life. Physically, your body totally keeps the score. We're talking a chronically clenched jaw, maybe chest palpitations, or finding yourself jumping out of your skin just from a random knock on the door. And emotionally, it shows up as this constant loop of negative self-talk, emotional volatility where you snap easily, or even an intense indecisiveness and an overwhelming need to stay unnecessarily busy. Why? Just to avoid sitting still with your own thoughts. Essentially, your body is practically screaming at you that it's anxious, even if your brain is trying really hard to ignore it. Which brings us to Section 2, shyness, laziness, or illness. So often we mislabel our own silent suffering as character flaws, right? We tell ourselves, oh, I'm just shy or I'm just being lazy, when actually there's something much deeper going on. There is a huge difference between a simple personality trait and a mental illness. Shyness is just a trait. It's that initial awkwardness in a specific new situation that naturally fades away as you start to get comfortable. But social anxiety, that is a totally irrational, extreme, and unwarranted fear of judgment that just does not go away. It makes you feel tense and uneasy even when you're hanging out with your closest friends and family, and it often triggers literal physical symptoms like nausea. Have you ever found yourself agonizing over a friend's tone of voice from a conversation that happened like 3 days ago, and you're completely convinced they secretly hate you now? Honestly, we've all been there. It's a phenomenon that the famed psychologist Aaron Beck coined back in 1997 as catastrophic thinking. Basically, it's a thought pattern where your brain gets locked into this constant spiral of panicked, irrational thoughts, always expecting the absolute worst-case scenario from the most minor little inconveniences. Likewise, we are incredibly quick to just slap the label lazy on ourselves. But listen, true laziness is choosing not to do something and feeling perfectly fine about it. If you are highly motivated to finish a to-do list, but you literally just lack the energy to even start, if you find yourself constantly retreating into your phone feeling totally emotionally numb, or relying on intense maladaptive daydreaming, where you get totally lost in these complex fantasies just to escape reality, yeah, that is a mental health struggle. It is not laziness. All right, moving on to Section 3, the high-functioning paradox. This is perhaps the most deceptive mask of the whole bunch because, well, from the outside, everything looks absolutely perfect. But the crucial point here is this immense dissonance between what people see and what you feel. The outside world, they see a confident, sociable, hardworking person with super high standards who always delivers. But internally, you feel constantly uncomfortable and anxious. You are paralyzed by this fear of failure, falling into extreme people-pleasing, and pushing yourself to the absolute brink of exhaustion, really just to maintain the illusion that you have the whole shebang completely under control. And this relentless drive we're talking about, it often stems from what is known as productivity guilt. It is this really toxic mindset where you literally cannot allow yourself to just sit down and take a break without feeling bad or weak or like a complete failure because you aren't being actively productive. And get this, in a survey of high performers, a staggering 93% reported experiencing this exact type of guilt. 93%. You basically feel like you have to constantly earn your right to just rest. So because you spend your entire high-pressure daytime life overperforming and pleasing everyone else, You end up experiencing this total loss of control over your own day. And what does this lead to? Something called revenge bedtime procrastination. Oh, yeah, you know the feeling. It's when you intentionally stay up late scrolling on your phone or watching TV. You're sacrificing crucial sleep just to reclaim a sense of personal control and feel like you actually own a tiny piece of your day. But it's a trap. It locks you into a vicious cycle of chronic exhaustion, which, of course, only fuels your anxiety the very next morning. Now, clinical psychologist Dr. Julie notes that this mask can also hide high-functioning depression, and the 5 signs of this are really subtle but super profound. Number 1, you're doing what the world asks of you, but you just feel entirely empty inside. Number 2, you work hard, sure, but there's zero enthusiasm. You're basically just going through the motions. 3, you're numbing your feelings with screens or junk food. 4, social events suddenly feel like exhausting work. But the 5th, and maybe most telling sign, severe self-neglect. And it begins the exact moment nobody else is watching. Your high functioning literally ends the second you close your front door. Okay, let's look at section 4, the 5 levels of anxiety. Understanding where you actually fall on this spectrum is absolutely crucial because it's the first step to untangling the whole mess. Your internal experience can scale pretty dramatically here. Level 1 is minimal. You're highly functional with limited interruptions. But as it shifts into level 2, mild, or level 3, moderate territory, you'll start noticing minor stomach aches, muscle tension, and pretty soon your sleep gets inconsistent. You lose your appetite and you feel panicky. By the time it hits level 4, severe, or level 5, debilitating, you might be facing full-blown insomnia, tremors, a constant tight chest, avoiding your loved ones, or having near-constant panic attacks that leave you entirely homebound. Finally, we arrive at section 5, taking back control. Listen, struggling anywhere on that spectrum is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. And the good news is there are 3 proven ways you can begin breaking the cycle today. First off, you gotta honor your sleep. I'm talking at strict no devices rules 60 minutes before bed. Set that boundary. Second, practice non-judgmental acceptance. When those catastrophic thoughts pop up, use a trick psychologists call cognitive appraisal. Basically, you just hit pause and rationally reframe those wild worst-case scenarios using actual logic and facts. And third, consciously reclaim your control. Prioritize your own self-care by bravely saying no to others and doing it without an ounce of guilt. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with one vital thought to chew on. What exactly is your inner critic telling you right now? Are you letting your anxiety masquerade as perfectionism, or maybe calling it laziness? Look, it takes immense courage to peek behind your own mask. So ask yourself, whose expectations are you really trying to live up to anyway? And is it finally time to just take the mask off?